And this is Dr. Herbert Harris, and I want to welcome each and every one of you to our Success Mentorship class number 205. Wow. As you know, our classes are based on our book. Those of you who are watching on Instagram and on Facebook, on our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. And this is your guidebook for success, your recipe book to help you create the life of your dreams, doing exactly the things you want to do. Wow, we have a nice group joining us on Instagram. Also want to take the time to announce about our new home study course. You know, many of you are doing things now and learning things now and preparing to make this year your year for outrageous success. So get more information about our home study course where we show you how to use the principles in the book to create the life of your dreams. Wow. Our topic for today is choices and decisions determine your life. Choices and decisions determine your life. And I picked that topic because we're now moving into our new year, moving into creating the year for outrageous success. And one of the key things that will determine the success, the level of success that we will enjoy, is the choices and decisions that we make. So before we get started, let us do our meditation so that we can put ourselves in the proper space to receive the message today. Let's close our outer eyes. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. I am at peace with myself. Let us say that together. I am at peace with myself. Once more. I am at peace with myself. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this state of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Once more. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, yes. We have a lot of people joining us. Great, great. You know, as we do our live broadcasts on Facebook and on Instagram, we also have a group, the Success Network team on Zoom. And after we do our presentation, we have a very lively discussion and mastermind session. So more information about that is, of course, available at herbertharris.com. I love to open with a quote. And one of the, one of the quotes that I really love is a quote from Catherine Pulser. And she says, life presents many choices. The choices we make determine our future. Life presents many choices. The choices we make determine our future. Robert Kiyosaki said something that sort of segues into that. He said, you and only you are responsible for your life choices and circumstances. You and only you are responsible for your choices and life circumstances. Sometimes that may sound like a rather harsh lesson, because so many times in life we really feel very comfortable letting the blame be on someone else. That many times our circumstances may be so, just say, stark, that we really don't want to accept responsibility for it. But it's only when you face it, it's only when you say, hey, and confront it, that you can change it. And so let me open with a nice story. The very, 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 very wealthy young lady, one day she was asked by a reporter, what is the secret to your success? She had become the CEO of a major corporation. I mean, big time. And she said, right decisions. And that seemed rather simplistic. The reporter pressed her and he said, well, how do you learn to make right decisions? And she said, through experience. And once again, a little, there's got to be more to it than that. Well, how do you get experience? And she said, wrong decisions. And the message here is that decisions give us instruction on how to get better. One of the key points in life is that we are where we are because of the choices and decisions we make. And so let's look at these choices. What's the difference between a choice and a decision? The choice represents the possibilities, all of the things that can happen. As we live our lives, we are confronted with three things: choices, change, and principle. So the universe is always changing. It changes in accordance with certain principles, and you have a decision to make. You choose how you interact with the universe. You choose how you interact with other people. And the interesting thing about choice is it can be positive or passive. Even if you don't make a choice, if you procrastinate, that itself is a choice. Think about this. Your light bill is due on the 1st. You don't do anything. You procrastinate. Up comes the 29th of the month, and the bill still is not paid. You didn't do anything. But on the 1st of the next month, they're out turning your lights off. So although you did nothing, a choice was made. And that's the point I want us to make in life. We always make a choice, whether it's an affirmative, active choice or passive choice that we experience as a result of inaction or procrastination. We always get the results. So if choices are possibilities, then decisions are the actions we take based on the choices. When we act on the choice, that's a decision. So the choices are pay the bill or not pay the bill. Okay? If we affirmatively act on it and say, let me send the check in now, that creates a different set of circumstances. If we don't act on it and do nothing, that itself is a choice, creating another set of circumstances. So our listeners today, every moment in your life, you're confronted with choices. Choices, even how to get up, whether you should get up or not, or lay in bed for another hour. And so it's these choices that we have confronting us, but the actions we take based on the choices are the things that impact our life. So let's look for a moment at the process. There's a process that takes place. The reality we live is the manifestation of our goals and our dreams. Whatever we wanted to do, either affirmatively or passively, we are living that experience. Our goals and dreams and the realization of them depend on our decisions. And our decisions depend on the choices available. But then the action, the thought of making a decision embodies our state of mind, our mood. If we have a the glass half empty state of mind, consciousness, then our decisions are based on lack and limitation. So for those listening today, how many decisions are you making based on your fear of loss, based on your thoughts of lack and limitation? An opportunity may present itself and you're so afraid to fail, you don't do anything. You choose not to act. So your state of mind is critical in making the choices that you make. But then your state of mind is really based on your emotions, how you feel. And our emotions are, let me tell you, our emotions are our powerhouse. But our emotions are like a knife. They can carve the most magnificent dream, or they can kill it. And so our emotions then fuel our state of mind, which then fuels our choices and the decisions we make, which then create the life we live. The first law of success says you become what you think about most of the time. So our emotions are intertwined now, have a foundation on our thoughts. The beautiful thing about our thoughts is we have the capacity to choose which thoughts we want to manifest. We do that by choosing what thoughts to focus on. So looking at it, the thoughts what we focus on impacts our thoughts, which impacts our emotions, which impacts our state of mind, which impacts the choices that we see, which then impacts our decisions, which then create the life we live. Seems very simple, doesn't it? But it's really that kind of process. And when we can look at it analytically, we can see where we can tweak it to get better outcomes. Because really, success is really about getting the outcomes that you desire. So let's look at some very, 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 very basic concepts of decision making. You know, there are a lot of books on decision making, but I want to take it from the point of view of how do you do it on a very fundamental level. And I like to think of it as the 7 choices, the 7 basic choices that we make. All the other choices come out of this. These are the very fundamental basic choices we make. The first choice we make is the choice to confront or avoid. So when situations present themselves in our lives, we often talk about the 4 F's, the 4 F's. When situations present themselves, situations being opportunities, being relationships, being job promotions, whatever situations interact with us in our lives, we can do one of 4 things. We can flee. Sometimes we run away from situations. You know, I've seen people who get in relationships with really good people, and it seems like as good as the relationship is getting, all of a sudden one person runs. Okay, so you can flee it, or you can fight it. Many people get in situations of denial. So when you're confronted with a challenge, you actually deny that situation. You act as though it does not exist. Then there are people who forget it. They just act like it didn't happen. And that's like procrastination. But the only true way to handle a situation, an opportunity, a choice, is to face it. So that basic choice, do we want to avoid it or do we want to confront it? If we avoid it, we don't grow. And what happens when we don't confront the choices that appear to us, we stay stuck. And so for all of us who are listening, if you find yourself going through a repetitive state of failure, repetitive state of disappointment, a repetitive state of bad relationships, a repetitive state of anything that you don't want, a root cause may be that you're not confronting it to deal with it. Of course, you have to choose your battles. Okay. But the point is, whenever you are confronted with a choice, you make this decision. Do I confront it or do I avoid it? If I confront it, that means I move towards it. But it helps me build my confidence. See, when you take on something, a task, You have to believe in yourself to do it. So when you confront the challenge, confront the choice, you grow through it. If you avoid it, you stay stuck. And you continue to get the same results over and over and over. I think Einstein said that insanity is doing the same things and expecting a different result. So confront or avoid. The second choice is to take bold action or timid action. Now, what we're saying here is, in every situation, when you make a choice, there are always possibilities. A bold action is when you look at it and you say, I'm going to get this done. It is done. When you take that boldness, it's about energy. You see, every choice that you make has an energy level associated with it. You know, we always talk about there's an interrelation here between E equals mc squared, the Einstein formula for relativity, and the manifestation of things in our lives. E, energy, vibration, equals m, mass, manifestation, times the speed of light squared. So therefore, energy and manifestation are directly proportionate. The higher level you have, the more impact and manifestation you can do. So when you're excited about doing something, when you're like pumped up and jacked up about it, you're able to do greater things than when you're just timid about it. And so boldness means that you approach any decision from a higher energy level. When you approach it from a higher energy level, that means you're sending out a higher vibration, and that interacts with the world. So when people see you acting on a choice, when you make a particular decision to go for it, it's like when you watch the football team, you know, when you're on the 2-yard line and there's 2 seconds left, and you can either, kick a field goal or go for it. Well, bold action says, you say, team, we're going to go. You get everybody all jacked up. You get everybody's energy level high, and you go for it. Bold action encourages bold results. Timid action encourages timid results. So those of you who are listening, anybody who's up this time of morning today who are listening to this broadcast, I guarantee you that you are among the people who want to make bold action. Action at the highest level, creating a magnetic vibration that pulls into your space that you desire. Boldness requires confidence. Bold action builds strength. Bold action is high energy. You want to create a habit of always taking bold action. That whenever situations and people interact with you, they say, well, I know how he or she's going to operate because they are always taking bold action. They don't play around what they say they mean. So that second choice, bold action versus timid action. The third choice we make is the biggie. And it is to follow through or falter. Once you have made a decision, see, a decision is like a seed. You may make a great decision. A decision is a seed. You may plant that seed in the garden that is your life, the garden that is fertile soil. But planting the seed alone does not ensure success, does not ensure the crop. Planting the seed is just one step. You have to nurture the seed. You have to water the seed. You have to protect the seed. You have to pull up weeds. And so when you make decisions, follow-up is an integral part of the decision. In sales, we often say the fortune is in the follow-up. Most people fail at sales because they don't follow up. Someone did a study and it says most people make a buying decision after the 4th or 5th contact. So if you only interact twice, you probably won't get the sale. If you interact 3 times, you probably won't get the sale. But when you interact with a person 4 and 5 times, you'll probably get the sale. Think about this. If a situation persists for you to interact with it 4 or 5 times, that means that there's a desire to be there. And so follow-up is critical. Those of us in business, follow-up, as they say, the fortune is in the follow-up. But you know, the thing with follow-up is this. The thing that neutralizes your capacity to follow up is your propensity to procrastinate. So you make a good decision, you know, I'm going to do this. Like in business, you say, I'm going to send out 100 emails and see what kind of response I get. And then the second part is to call the people. But then you procrastinate in the planning of your day. So now it's 8:45 and you say, oh my goodness, I don't want to call people this late at night. So this idea of not following through is critical, because then you don't do the things necessary to nurture the seed to support the decision that you've made. A decision is not a one-time event. It's a process. It's a series of events. Number 4. Woo, this one is a biggie. Choose preparation or procrastination. Whenever life circumstances confront us, we have the different choices of how we can respond. We have a very basic choice. Do we choose to act now or to wait until later? Procrastination is like a weed. You have a garden out there. If you don't go out and pull up those weeds in a certain amount of times, those weeds will consume your garden. So this choice of procrastination versus preparation is powerful. When you have a big job confronting you, and you look at the steps that's necessary to make that job happen, and you commit to follow through on the decision made, there's always something you can do right now. That's what the essence of preparation is. Maybe I'm not in a position to hit the scoring ball. You know, in basketball, Michael Jordan talks about how many times they entrusted him with the winning shot and he blew it. Okay. So now you know that this situation is going to come about. So you can now prepare yourself by proper preparation. You say, okay, I'm going to get that last shot. That opportunity is going to come to me. Let me be prepared for it. You know, when you watch a basketball game, I love basketball games because they move so fast, and you see it's like 5 or 6 seconds left, and one team is like 1 point down, and the other team has the ball, and they have 6 seconds, and if they score, they can probably win. And you see them pass the ball, and they'll pass it to one, and he's like, I ain't taking that shot. He passes it to somebody else. In other words, instead of taking the shot, they procrastinate. Instead of taking the shot, that little doubt is in their minds. One of the things about making choices and doing it consistently is you realize that preparation prepares you for opportunity. So if you've been on the court and you practice shooting that 3-pointer, practice over and over, when that opportunity comes, your faith in yourself says, shoot the ball. So preparation versus procrastination. Whatever choices you're confronted with, there's always something you can do right now to make it better. The 5th choice is now how you send your energy out. Is to choose to speak up or hold back. When you've made a decision, the ball is in your court. You can choose now to speak up. You know, I know all of us have had a job at some point. You've ever wanted to really ask for a raise? And boy, that's a hard thing. You want to walk into your boss's office and ask for a raise. Well, if you just walk in there one day because you feel like it, you probably won't get it. But if you have gone through the decision process, you made the decision, I'm gonna confront my boss because I think I'm worth more money, you know. And you proceed along that whole process. You make the decision, you act on it, you decide you're going to take bold action on it. You're going to follow through. And now you're prepared. You lay out your plan. Many times when we're in situations where procrastination, there's a likelihood that we'll procrastinate, we prepare for that. Example, you may have to give a presentation and you're really upset about it. You're fearful. You're nervous about it. And so there's a tendency to put it off. Like nobody wants to stand in front of a room of 100 people and mess up. But then you can choose to prepare. So you say, you know what, let me write my speech. Let me write each and every word. When you're in an interaction, for example, with your boss to ask for a job, a raise, you lay out all of the ways, the reasons that you should get the raise and anticipate all the questions he may ask or she may ask. So the idea of preparation is to present the mindset and the tools so that you can get the right results. So when you speak up or hold back now, means that you had the preparation, that you have the confidence. You see, you won't speak up if you don't have the confidence. Preparation gives you confidence. Someone said, it's better to have an opportunity it's better to be prepared for an opportunity that does not come than to have an opportunity come and you're not prepared for it. So when you choose to speak out, that creates your energy level, your vibration level, and you're more likely to get the desired results. The number 6 is very interesting. And when you make decisions and things happen, everything doesn't go right all the time. Many times you make a decision and the thing that you thought was going to happen didn't happen. The people you thought were going to support your decision don't show up. That whatever the outcome you anticipated does not manifest. So this 6th choice is powerful because sometimes when you have a failure, you can get so involved with the failure that it undermines your ability to go forward. So when I say surrender to the situation, what I'm saying is when the things don't work out the way that you thought they would or wanted them to work out, you take responsibility, you surrender. You say, okay, all right, it didn't happen, okay? And you ask the question, what can I learn from this? So you just changed your paradigm now. See, when you fail and you have the wrong attitude, many times failure can paralyze you for the rest of your life. But if you surrender to the failure, and I don't mean like, I give up, I'll never try. No, when you say, okay, it happened. Let me get over it. Many times when people have emotional situations, especially traumas, these things can be like anchors that keep you from ever flying and floating. You know, a ship that has its anchor down in the harbor is not going anywhere. So when we can let circumstances like failures, disappointments become anchors that keep us from going forward. So surrender to that. Say, hey, it happened. It didn't go right, you know, but I learn better. I know when this happens again, I'll get a better outcome. Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia in New York City was, I guess he was, let's just say, one of those kind of politicians that was on the take and all kind of things happened. But anyway, when he had bad publicity, and when it became obvious that things were going on in his administration, that things that were not right, that were probably illegal, and the news people confronted him, he surrendered. You know what he said? He said, boy, I really messed up, didn't I, guys? Well, let's figure out a way to make it better. I mean, he completely disarmed them. They came ready to attack. And so that's how you have, when things don't work out the way you want them to, learn a way to accept it as a lesson and grow through it. And then finally, the 7th choice. Trust or doubt. Doubt is an insidious emotion that steals your dreams, that steals your time. It is said that when Peter walked on the water, he did pretty good until he looked down at his circumstances and said, oh my goodness, I'm walking on water. And he started to sink. Doubt undermines the vibration. Remember we said energy equals manifestation. So when you have doubt, doubt like takes your vibrations and cut it in half, reduces the vibration so that you're no longer as powerful as you were to bring about desired result. The master teacher said, if you tell this mountain to be cast into the sea and doubt not, it's going into the sea. And so this decision-making process, as you begin to grow through it, you learn to overcome doubt. You learn to trust your abilities. You learn to trust yourself. When Michael Jordan went on to, when he was talking about taking the last shot, he said, he talked about how many times he made it and then how many times he missed it. I think he said he missed over 9,000 shots. But guess what? When you make a choice to take the shot, you miss 100% of all the shots you do not take. So when you make a choice, you have to have confidence in yourself. And so trust, when you trust your judgment, when you trust your ability to find a right solution, no matter what it is. And so when things go wrong or go in a way that you didn't think they should go, see, right and wrong is relative because we see things from where we are right now on a bigger picture. I guarantee you that many of us, we get that something happened to us at one point in our lives and we get down the line 3 or 4 years later and you go, oh my goodness, I thought that was the most terrible thing that happened. And my goodness, I'm so glad it happened. Because if that had not happened, I would never have gone and done A, B, C, and D. Think about Pixar. You know, when Pixar was a movie company, and when the president of Apple, Steve Jobs, who founded Apple, when the corporate people got to the point where they thought that Jobs wasn't doing the job, Scully, who was the CEO at the time, fired him. Now, Steve Jobs could have, put his tail between his legs. He could have been upset and whatnot, but he left with a certain energy level that he went and joined Pixar. Bill Gates gave him a lot of assistance. And most of those movies you see now, the Toy Story and a lot of the animation, probably may not have developed if Steve Jobs had not been fired from Apple. But see, many times this idea of trust versus doubt is when things don't go the way you want them to. Look at it, ask this question. Rather than say, oh, woe is me. Ask, what is the lesson to be learned? I got myself fired, okay? My business failed. My relationship is on the rocks. Rather than wallowing in, what is the lesson to be learned so that I can avoid this behavior in the future? What is the lesson to be learned so that I can get to point B, to the place I really want to be? And so these 7 basic choices, when we superimpose them on everything we do, it gives us a standard. It gives us really a habit, because we really want to get into the habit of automatically choosing to confront rather than avoid. So that first choice, confront rather than avoid. If it's to be, it's up to me. That second choice, to take bold action rather than timid action, to always be committed to do your best, to do all that you can. That daily question says, did I do everything I could today to make tomorrow the way I want it to be committed to say, yes, I did everything with what I had to do it with to make tomorrow the way that I want it to be. That third choice, to follow through or falter, to recognize that the choice is just the seed. But having planted the seed, there are many other things that must take place for that seed to manifest. So follow through and never falter. That fourth choice of preparation versus procrastination, that any situation that presents itself, you can be prepared to handle it that no matter how dark it may seem, the essence of faith is that you know one day the light will come. So prepare for the light. If the dark is darker than dark, then you prepare for the light. Whatever you expect, you project. Remember, energy, preparation as opposed to procrastination. That fifth choice, to speak up or hold back, to always speak up. That once you have made a decision, go for it. Once you've made a decision, speak on it. And do it continuously in the follow-up mode. Someone once said, when the Indians would dance to get rain, they said, well, how do you know that the rain dance is going to bring rain? And so the wise Indian master said, well, you dance until it rains. And so in life, you work at it until you get it. Seeking you shall find, knocking it shall be opened, asking it shall be answered, but it doesn't say how long until you get it. That sixth choice, to surrender or choose to be a victim. Always accept the circumstances as a learning lesson. That whatever does not work, accept it as a learning lesson and ask the question, what can I do now to make this better? How can I improve upon this particular situation? And then finally, that seventh choice, to operate from a position of trust rather than a position of doubt. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. When we can operate on that position of trust, belief in ourselves, trusting the process, and trusting our vision. You see, the vision is for an appointed time. Whatever we want to be this year, your year for success, whatever your vision for you and your life in this year is for an appointed time. All you have to do is make the choices that will lead you to where you want to be. Knowing that you can be what you want to be, that you can do whatever you want to do, that you can have whatever you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Thank you so much for being with us today on Instagram, on Facebook, our studio audience, our Zoom group. Remember, all of our teachings are based on the 12 Universal Laws of Success. And be sure to go to our website, herbertharris.com, and fill in the information, get the free goal setting booklet, but get on the list to get the advanced information about our home study course. Excuse me, the New You for the New Year home study course. This course will transform your life from what it is to exactly what you want it to be. So go to herbertharris.com, click on the link at the top, put in your information so you'll be in line to get the advanced information about the New You for the New Year home study course. And so it is.